Hello and welcome to the Rhythm of Business podcast. I am your host, Dr. Terry, and I have as my guest this morning Jeremy Newsome, who is the CEO of Real Life Trading, located out of the Nashville, Tennessee area. Jeremy, welcome, man. So excited to have you on, and if you can just kick us off and get us started, just help the audience know who's Jeremy and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. This is so exciting, so thrilled for all the listeners. I hope I can really I plan on adding tons of value. My name is Jeremy Alexander Newsome. I always go by my full name because I was in trouble a lot as a kid. I grew up in the South. So my mom was always calling me by my full name, as you know how that goes, Dr. Terry.
Yeah.
My name is Jeremy with two R's because my dad's name was Jerry, so it stands for Jerry and me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was born in
I
the
love
deep
it.
south of Georgia, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur of some kind. Although I didn't know what the word meant or what the term was, I was always into sales. I was always into connecting people with products and with information. I sold anything I could get my hands on for the majority of my life. When I was 6, a movie changed my life forever called Forrest Gump.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
movie, yeah, he said like 80% of the way through the movie, he says that Lieutenant Dan invests into a fruit company. They no longer have to worry about money ever again. I never even heard that. I didn't know that you couldn't not worry about money.
Yeah.
So I asked my dad, what's investing? What's the fruit company? He tells me about Apple. I beg him to buy some shares. He says we're too poor. So I pick blackberries and I sell them door to door for $1 a bag. And in the summer of 1995, I make 1,500 bucks selling blackberries at the age of
Wow.
6. And that was my investment capital into Apple stock, uh, right towards the bottom. And that turned into a pretty good investment for me. I sold it a couple of years later, made a good return, and I've been hooked on stocks ever since. Went to University of Florida for a finance degree. I didn't get taught in school what I wanted to get taught about the stock market, about trading, about investing. So I learned from the School of Hard Knocks. And then in 2014, so 10 years ago, I launched a company called Real Life Trading, which is the third largest global stock market education company on earth.
Wow.
And yeah, man, that's what I do now full time is I teach people all around the world how the stock market works, how people like me and you can interact with it, how we can create profits from it, cash flow from it, and just help people understand the mysteries of the markets.
Yeah. So Jeremy, if you as you think about that, and I'm listening to your story and going out at age 6 and just launching out there, and so I'm getting some of the gist of what inspired you to take that leap into this entrepreneurial journey, because a lot of people may hesitate, and and you just had an inkling in your early years that you said, I want to do something different. Where did tell me a little bit more about that inspiration.
Yeah, it was really as wild as it sounds. And thank you for asking. You're like the third or fourth person ever asked that. And the very first person that ever asked that was like, what was the exact moment that it shifted for you? The first person ever asked me that was Les Brown. I hired him for some coaching about 4 years ago. And that was a big shift for me because I realized after that scene in the movie where Forrest Gump says, we no longer have to worry about money ever again.
Mhm.
He went on and built school, built a church, built a hospital, and retired Bubba's mom out of the kitchen.
Wow.
And I could see all the good things and all the impacts you could have with money as a tool, as a force for good. And that just somehow cemented itself into my heart forever. For my whole life,
Wow.
I've always seen money as a tool that can not only rebuild bridges, but connect people from different levels of life and really just
Mhm.
help expansion. And I've always just been admired and enthralled by that topic and by that
Wow.
focal point.
That is awesome. So when you think about this entrepreneurial journey, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of people take the leap. What are some of those misconceptions that someone that's going into it, or that may be out there starting, walking tepidly into it? What are some misconceptions they may have about being an entrepreneur? What have you seen?
I think the big one is a lot of people are afraid of taxes. I know it sounds crazy, but I tell people never avoid a dream because of possible tax implications.
Yeah.
First and foremost, because they're afraid to get started because like, what if I do it wrong and the IRS comes after me and
Yeah.
I get audited and I get thrown in jail?
Yeah.
Yeah, the IRS is a boogeyman that everyone's
Yeah.
for some reason afraid of. The truth is, if you do everything to the best of your ability, even if that's not good enough, you're never going to get in trouble,
Yeah.
right? The only way you get arrested is by leaving the country and definitely not paying your taxes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If something fell through the cracks or you have to report something or you didn't get something perfectly correct and you have to repay or add in, whatever the case might be. I know 4 friends have been audited that actually got money back from the IRS after they
Wow.
got some audits. So long story short, do not be afraid of the tax piece. It'll figure
Mm.
itself out,
It'll
right?
figure itself out.
Start number one. And then number two, a lot of individuals are concerned about the money portion of this, right? I
Yes.
don't have the money. Well, I wrote a book called Money Grows on Trees. And
I saw that.
when we think about the ease and the access of how much money capital is actually available for you, the listener, it's actually pretty easy. I mean, getting
Yeah.
into business is relatively simple. You could
Yeah.
have whatever business that you want, call it, I don't know, mobile car cleaning.
Hmm.
And if you create a mobile car cleaning company on the side that you only do on weekends because you have a full-time W-2 job, fantastic. Go knock on doors and sell your services.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simple as that. That is, I mean, right there, marketing 101. Go knock on doors and go get you some business.
That's it. That's it. But I think you're dead on, and I think you're right about that. People are so afraid of taxes. You go. I told someone a long time ago. I said, if I have the tax bill, that means I made the money.
Yeah.
If I have a
Yeah.
tax bill, that means I've made the money. So,
Yeah.
so if you think about all that you've done, and it sounds like you've got an incredible journey to share, how do you balance uh life? Just people call it work-life balance. When you're
Yeah.
doing what you enjoy doing, it's not necessarily all work, but how do you find that balance with the pool of being an entrepreneur, business owner? Uh, what what are thoughts on that?
I got two good thoughts, Dr. Terry. One of them is I like to use the word equilibrium for me. And
Hmm.
the definition of that means sometimes you're swinging all the way to the left or all the way to
Hmm.
the right. And very rarely are you going to be right in the middle, like AKA perfect balance. So there are times where I tell my wife, tell the kids, and tell everybody, hey, the next 2 weeks, I'm getting after it. Hard in the paint, 18-hour days. I'll see you when I see you. But
Hmm.
after that 2 week grind is over, then I have scheduled time with my wife and my family. Everyone knows it. And
Hmm.
from, 4 p.m. in the afternoon until midnight, 8 hours a day for 7 days in a row, I'm all theirs. And we can do
Wow.
anything they want. So the key is for me, when you got to go in, go in. It's okay to do both. It's
Hmm.
okay to have both. You can have
Absolutely.
everything. You can have your cake, you can eat it, and it can be good for you.
Yeah.
and then the second piece, the big piece is schedule it. Schedule it far in advance. Most people they live in a 48 to 72-hour window and they're
Hmm.
always stressed. The best thing for me is if I know I want a busy season or if I know I want a season where I spend a lot of time with my family. A great example is June and July of last summer. I did a 2-month RV trip. Got an RV, got the kids, got my 14-year-old's friends from school, traveled with a bunch of them, got my mother-in-law, got all kinds of people in this giant RV, went around the whole West Coast going park hopping, right?
Wow.
And it was incredible, one of the greatest experiences of our lives. And I did work on that trip, but it was until 8 a.m. So I got up a little early, 5 a.m. on the West Coast, worked until 8 a.m. on the West Coast. That's where everyone starts waking up. I got
Hmm.
3 hours of work in, and the rest of the day, pure family. Phone was down.
Wow.
We went hiking, did all the things. So it was a season of spending time on the family, but I had to schedule that. I mean, imagine
Yeah.
how far I had to put that out in
Hmm.
the calendar. I put it out
Yeah.
a ways, a year and a half, and said
Yeah.
this summer, next summer, this is what we're doing. So a lot of
Wow.
listeners should schedule things out farther in advance.
Well, I love that word equilibrium as well. I think it's not laborious if I am enjoying what I do, and it's
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
work-life balance. It's just balance, and I find it,
Yep.
the best way that I can. So
Yep.
as you've grown your business, Jeremy, think about the growth that happens, and you have the passion. you have the drive, you're the one that's going to go out at age 6 and do this. You want to do it, right? But as you grow it, you start bringing people into your team. And if you bring people in, they may or may not have the same level of passion and drive and work ethic and all those things. How do you, as it evolves, how do you stay ahead of it with this growth and with people dynamics?
With three things, Dr. Cherry. So thing number one, whatever company or product or service that you have, it should impact lives in a more positive nature. And
Mm,
the people that you impact eventually are going to feel so called and moved if your company is that good that you could hire from within. I'll pick a random sector, let's say a veterinarian, right? If
hmm.
you're a vet and you save a horse or a cat or dog's life, and those people are like so moved by that experience, they're going to go tell people, they're going to go, wow, this vet just saved my life or my pet's life. And I'm so, I'm so in debt to that person. And they start sharing that message with other people.
Yeah.
Eventually someone's going to go, oh, wow, I want to work for a veterinarian that does that because I
Mm,
love animals. And so they're going to give you a call and go, hey, I got referred to you by your customer. And then you can actually start building a relationship because you know that person does have some type of passion. I see
yeah.
it happen with chiropractors all the time. I work a lot with chiropractors randomly enough.
Hmm.
And I see that where they will heal someone from the inside out. And that person gets so revolutionized and enriched by that
Yes.
session that they end up working for that particular
Mm,
chiropractic agency. There's a lot of those examples where at some stage, even if you're an ice cream store, make it
yes.
really good ice cream. If you own a Mexican restaurant, make sure the queso is amazing and the tables are clean and the customer service is
Hmm.
nice. You can absolutely find people that get impacted by the overall
Yes.
quality and then start hiring from within. And that's exactly
Yes.
what I did.
Yeah.
And then as the company continues to grow, you have to realize as a business owner that probably, most likely, there's a 99% chance that you'll never find anyone who cares as much as you do, but that's okay. As
Yeah.
long as they care enough and they are there and they show up, you're going to have to fall into trust at some
At
point.
some point.
You got to. Otherwise, you don't have a business, you have a job, as
Yes.
you've heard people say a million times.
Yes.
You gotta pull back. You got to let
Yeah.
someone take the reins
Yeah.
and just do a trust fall for a week and make sure that they run the cashier, the store, the sales department, the billing department. You just gotta cross your fingers and train them well and hope for the best.
Well, I think I mean, again, I think it's just that passion, and it can be contagious. And I think,
Yeah,
we've gotta not let someone steal it from us
right.
when we have that passion. So now where does Jeremy take this business next? I mean, I know there's always given the way you started, there's always a next. What's next for your growth and how do you press the gas?
The big piece for me, man, is I want to take the education courses and programs that I have related to the stock market and really blend them into a very fantastic bundle to provide them for government agencies.
Oh, wow.
That's the big goal, right?
Hmm.
To have senators or governors or state representatives say, oh, wow, you can teach these high schoolers, middle schoolers, or college students how to create income using the stock market because it is a career choice. Just like there are kids, like literally kids, who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and sometimes even a month on YouTube as content creators. Like they're making legit money.
Hmm.
If you have access to the internet, you have access to income. And that shift now, I think, is a huge proponent to let people understand that they need to be teaching this stuff in more accessible ways. And so
Yeah.
that's one of my what's one of the big goals, man, is kind of either work through some grant facilities, grant agencies, government agencies, so that they can start putting this information out on a larger scale rather than me
Hmm.
going essentially business to consumer, right? B2C, which is very
Yeah.
popular. I want to go B2G, right? Business to government and let
It's
the
the government.
government tell me, right, how I can have the most impact at scale.
Yeah, sounds to me like it's how does it become a pull instead of a push?
There you go.
Because once
Yep.
you can get that pull, it's a whole different ball game, right? So
Yep.
uh,
Precisely.
that's awesome. So last question, thinking about at that 6-year-old Jeremy Alexander, Uh, I love that name.
Thanks,
Uh,
man.
Thinking about that young desirous individual, there's someone sitting at the kitchen table. There's someone that's contemplating this dream and this idea to launch out into entrepreneurial world. What advice do you give them to you know get them to say take the leap? What advice would you provide that desiring entrepreneur out there?
The advice that has helped a lot of people I've interacted with is the richest place in the world is the graveyard. Hell to me, my version of hell, Dr. Terry, is what Les Brown has said, sitting on your deathbed and the ghosts of all of your dreams and ideas
Mm,
say, you were the only one that could have ever given us life. But now we must die with you because you were too afraid, too scared, and too
wow.
much of a coward to put me out into the world. And now we have to die with you.
Yes,
That's my version of hell.
that's
And so,
beautiful.
dude, I mean, what's the worst case scenario? Because here's the
Yeah.
thing: if you're listening to this, you're dead in 100 years. It's game over.
Yes.
So try. Like, what's worst case scenario? You're gonna lose some money. All right, that's probably your worst case. Your worst case is you lose some money somehow. Maybe you get
Absolutely.
sued. Maybe do something incorrectly. Maybe someone falls. Maybe you break something. Loss of money is
Yeah.
likely,
Yeah.
most likely, your worst case scenario. And you've already
Yeah.
experienced that at some point in time in the past, and you got over it. So do it again, but this time at a
Do
bigger
it again.
scale where you can actually impact and provide real value to people.
Wow. Jeremy, I'm telling you that you've been such a gift today. I'm just saying it's an honor even just to listen to you and share
Thanks, man.
and it really is. And I don't just say that casually. It is an honor. You're very humble, a successful individual, obviously, and it's been a pleasure to the audience. This is Jeremy Alexander. He has established real life trading out of the Nashville, Tennessee area. He's been our guest. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming. And if you're looking for someone to inspire you, I would challenge you. You need to connect with Jeremy. He is an amazing individual. Hope you come back and listen to us again. Thanks so much.